In Matthew 17, after the wonderful story of the transfiguration of Jesus, he comes down the mountain, and then he encounters a boy who has been demon possessed, and his father comes to him begging him on his knees to heal him. And the father says, your disciples weren't able to do it. They weren't able to heal him. And Jesus ends up rebuking the demon, and the demon goes away. But the deeper lesson that Jesus is teaching to his disciples here is about faith. He says, after he speaks to his disciples privately in verse 19, then the disciples came to Jesus privately and said, why could we not cast it out? And he said to them, because of your little faith. For truly I tell you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. Trying to understand, what does it mean to have this little faith, the faith the size of a mustard seed? And most people, most teachers that I've read or encountered say that it's more about the direction of our faith, the object of our faith, rather than the intensity of our faith. One person could be extremely intense and say, I have to believe in God as much as I possibly can, or else this won't happen. But the person who just focuses on God, what God can do, and God's power in a situation, that person has faith and trust that God is going to take care of things, that God has the power and the ability and the desire, the will, to take care of all of life's problems, to take care of the issue at hand. And I think that's where I personally could also be better. Sometimes whenever I see an issue, I'm like, man, I have to be better. I have to work on this. I'm so deficient in this place. And then I could be instead focusing on, I'm deficient in this place, but God can make up where I lack. God can still work through my actions, as meager and little as they might be. And I trust that God is going to be the one who's going to bring about good out of this very difficult situation. And so faith and trust in God doesn't look so much like bold, boisterous activity out in the world, publicly doing all these insane-looking things like moving mountains all the time. Oftentimes, bold but little faith directed toward God looks like quiet stillness and trust that God is going to take care of whatever needs to get taken care of. And it doesn't mean we are inactive and don't do anything at all, but rather that we work out our salvation with fear and trembling, because it is God who is at work in us.